Harmonies is a game for 1 to 4 players in which you build landscapes by placing colored tokens and creating habitats for your animals. Setup. Place the central board with the 2 and 4 player side face up. Place the bag with the wooden tokens next to the board. Fill each of the spaces on the board with 3 randomly drawn tokens. Shuffle the animal cards and place 5 of them face up next to the board. Each player takes a personal board, and the players decide which side of the board to use. All players must play on the same side. Give each player a reference card. The player who has last seen a magnificent landscape is the first player. Point the central board's arrow towards them. It is recommended to play without the Nature Spirit cards for the first few games. Gameplay. On your turn, you must take any group of 3 tokens from the central board and place them on your personal board. When doing that, you have to follow the placing rules. A token can always be placed on an empty space. It can be placed on top of 1 or 2 previously placed tokens to create trees, buildings, or mountains. You can't place a token on top of water or fields. The token cannot be placed on a space occupied by an animal cube. You also cannot place a token underneath another one. The bottom of the building tiles can either be red, brown, or gray. Optionally, you may take 1 animal card from the center. Place it above your personal board. You have a limit of 4 cards that can be above your board in the same time. Take as many animal cubes as the number of spaces on your animal card, and place 1 cube on each of these spaces. Each animal card contains a pattern that your tokens must form on your board to create the habitat. The card also indicates the space on which the animal cube must be placed within the habitat. If a habitat pattern is created exactly as indicated on the animal card, you may take the bottom-most cube from the card and place it on the indicated token. Keep in mind that the token must not already have an animal cube. The pattern may be orientated in any direction, but the height of the tokens must match exactly what is shown on the card. A single token can be used as part of multiple habitats. Once the final cube on an animal card has been placed, put that card next to your personal board. It is considered complete and no longer counts against your 4-card limit. Do not remove the already placed animal cubes from that animal card. At the end of your turn, draw 3 tokens from the bag and refill the central board. Refill the animal cards if needed. It is the next player's turn. End of the game. The game ends in one of 2 ways. If the bag of tokens is empty when you need to refill the central board. The game can also end if, at the end of your turn, there are 2 or less unoccupied spaces on your personal board. End the current round so that all of the players have played an equal number of turns. Each player scores points for the landscapes they created and the animals they placed. Each tree scores points determined by its height. The height of each mountain determines the number of points you score. However, a mountain is worth 0 points if it is not adjacent to another mountain. You get 5 points for each field made up of 2 or more contiguous yellow tokens. You score 5 points for each building, but only if surrounded by at least 3 tokens of different colors. Only consider the top token on each adjacent space. The length of the river determines your points. Count the consecutive river tokens from one end to the other using the shortest path, including the ends. You only score for your best river. If the river has more than 6 consecutive tokens, you get 4 points for each token beyond the 6th. If using side B of the personal board, the blue tokens are scored differently. Each space or group of spaces separated from each other by blue tokens forms an island. You score 5 points for each island. You score points for each animal card based on the number indicated in the topmost space without an animal cube. If a card still has all its cubes, it's worth 0 points. The player with the most points wins the game. In case of a tie, the player who has placed the most animal cubes wins. If there is still a tie, players share the victory.